What's up, people? Just want to make sure the sound is all good, the mic is working. Yep, looks all good. I mean, what happened today, man? What happened today? Jesus. Well, a few things. Like, ETH dumped. Looks like it's getting closer and closer to where, you know, it could reverse. I mean, I've had these lines for years. Lines are just lines, isn't it? You know, they're made up things from your imagination that you put on the screen and you make them real. So, you know, if people are drawing the same lines as me, then we come to some sort of agreement and the price does reverse. But yeah, it's been going on for a while, this line. Broke below it. If it does break it, this is not financial advice. I am not a TA expert, okay? This is just me looking at a screen, just talking shit while I warm up for the stream. Because there is reasons for why the price has gone down. I just haven't, I just need to warm up first. Yeah, that's all I'm going to say. Yeah, so if it does break this this red line here, which is around, what, 1,860, no, it's less than that. 1,775. I should probably put labels on it. The next level down is 1,100 with no support. So you can see it ran up here. You know, there's not really, well, there is consolidation. That's a weekly. But yeah, it's got a long way to go, I think. I think it's going to do this slow grind down, or it will really fast downwards move. And then consolidate until, like, you know, the fourth quarter, like normal, like the normal 4-year cycle. So we've got a bit of a wait. Yeah, so like everything's green. Obviously the day's changed where I am, and yeah, everything looks green and safe and like, oh, look at how nice it looks. You know, it's all green, but yeah, it's really in peril now. Crypto's really in peril, and I'm not surprised, to be honest. It's kind of like stagnated over the last you know, year or two, ever since the meme coin apocalypse. And, you know, October 10, things have just sort of like turned to shit. So yeah, I think a lot of people are in the same boat. There's a lot of, like, you know, crypto companies that have closed down, or you want to call them companies, I call them protocols, whatever, but they've closed down due to funding issues. Yeah, there's some news on, like, you know, other products that are pretty major in new emerging L2 ecosystems that have moved on to different pastures, greener pastures, maybe just different pastures. No one knows what's greener. I don't know the difference between, well, I do know, well, I don't know the difference between, like, you know, Mega ETH and Monad. It seems like they launched it around the same time. They're both promising the same thing: faster, cheaper transactions, better decentralization, stuff like that. But yeah, it's no one's you're yet to see it, you know, like Monad, it came out and it's just, it hasn't really done anything, nothing innovative, yeah, nothing cool. Same with Mega ETH, and they've sort of been a shit show since they launched, and they TGE'd and the token came out and just performed really badly. So a lot of retail participants, I think, haven't even heard of Mega ETH. You know, like if I was to be standing at the pub, I always use this as an example, it's like the pub, or like, you know, play football with your mates or something like that, and you say, oh yeah, Mega ETH, they're gonna be like, what the hell are you talking about? You know, that's the part of the cycle I feel like I'm in personally. No one cares, innit? I think they cared even less, the general public, during the meme coin super cycle. It was like the younger generation, yeah, but they were there to make money, and, you know, most of them lost. You know, and then you hear like, oh yeah, I bought Pepe, and it's like Pepe's gone up 10,000x or something, or like Fartcoin, or, you know, Dog with Hat, or yeah, just also like Goat was one of those ones where no one was really talking about it in regards to retail. But, you know, that was sort of like the AI cycle. No one talks like about the AI cycle outside of like crypto and Twitter. I'm telling you now, as much as we, or the people involved in this industry, I say we, like I'm involved, but I'm not. Kind of I am. I'm building my own thing, like crypto based, but like, you know, it's just me in a corner, so it is what it is. What was I saying? I can't remember what I was saying. Yeah, the AI super cycle was just like, you know, a very small niche couple of people made a lot of money in the AI cycle. The meme coin cycle was considered big, but I believe it was like more of a US, like less Europe type thing, because honestly, during 2016-17, when Bitcoin was flying and ETH was flying and everything was going on, like more people around my circles were talking about ETH and Bitcoin. They weren't talking about, you know, that they were talking about the thing of that cycle. Perhaps not ICOs, didn't understand that. That's where they sort of got off. It's just like, oh, it's ETH for Bitcoin, and up to now I believe it's still the case, and maybe Solana, from where I, based on my own personal, you know, experiences. Yeah, so when you say something like hyperliquid, for instance, like, I was talking about hyperliquid yesterday on stream, and I'm sure like nobody in my inner circle or the people that I talk to, family, relatives, close friends, none of them are going to have a clue what hyperliquid is. So why am I saying all these things? I actually have no idea. I'm just rambling. But let's get to the news in it. Yeah, so price could go down to 1,100. The Bitcoin looks like shit as well. We'll start with that. The reason why it looks like shit is, well, it could be two things. It could be multiple things with Bitcoin, which is quite surprising. Um, there's some news came out today from one of the Ethereum core devs, and I want you to be like, duh, duh, duh. Like Justin Drake. He works for the Ethereum Foundation, and he's one of like probably the biggest core dev they have. I believe that's my information, or that's my understanding. And he's come out with this article basically saying that Google are close to cracking the Shor elliptic curve cryptography algorithm. Like that makes me sound like super nerdy, or like I know what I'm talking about, but it's basically something that keeps Bitcoin safe. Yeah, and they're saying via quantum computing and qubits and all this other technical jargon that we care to not understand. There is going to be a way for computers, maybe even AI, to crack Bitcoin's algorithm and thus maybe unlock Satoshi's wallet at the extremes, or reorg the chain, or do something crazy with the chain where all of that security that it has, all that power that's going into it to keep it secure. Because don't forget, like, people have got factories built on mining Bitcoin, like with their ASIC miners. There's solar power places in Dubai, there's like, water places in China. There's like a lot of investment has gone into keeping Bitcoin secure because of the ever increasing difficulty of the problem that needs to be solved by the miners. We're not going to go too deep with it, okay? But like, this is the reason why Bitcoin is perceived to be valuable, because it costs energy and expenditure in order to secure it. Now, if someone breaks the security without needing the energy and power, because the hash rate is the protection, they found a way, a back door in via coding, then yeah, Bitcoin's in for a tough ride, and it's reflected in the price. Like today, it could be that. I think sometimes, especially now in the mid bear market, there needs to be some sort of catalyst or justification for future downward moves. So like when something like this happens, it's kind of like, oh man, it's because of that news. But perhaps it's not, because in that article it does say there's a 50-50 chance by 2030, which is what, 4 years away. It's not that far away, 4 years, that this supercomputer, or these qubits, or whatever technical jargon he's talking about, has the potential to break Bitcoin. So like, markets are forward looking, perhaps, and a lot of people have decided to take their chips off the table. I mean, there's still a lot of people that have made a lot of money with Bitcoin. Like there's a lot of like die-hard holders who are hoping that this is going to replace the money system. It's looking like it's not. There's a lot of things wrong with Bitcoin right now, in terms of narrative. Like the chain is still running. The Bitcoins are still getting sent when they need to get sent to, however slow or however long that takes. And it's still decentralized in a sense. It depends on who runs all the hashing miners, and historically it's been the Chinese that, or let me not say that. Historically, centralization of mining, the more expensive it becomes, the fewer players there are in that game. Yeah, it's getting more and more centralized, basically. I'm not gonna say, I'm still gonna say it's the most decentralized, but at the same time, the hashing power is what decides what happens with the network, innit? So yeah, anyway, massive dump. Perhaps it's the justification or perhaps the justification for the dump is this article. So I'll just read this bit quickly. Let me make sure everyone understands what Justin just said. 50% chance quantum computers break crypto by 2032. Google censored the findings with a ZK proof. A teenager is now finding short optimizations by AI. Ethereum has a plan, Bitcoin does not. This isn't fun. So yeah, this is coming from the book of Ethereum. So obviously it's going to be very pro-free Ethereum. Like, there's a bit of me, like that has to be skeptical about this narrative. And that's like, it's kind of like a cigarette company going after a vape company. They're both just as bad as each other, but at the same time, like, you understand the intentions of the cigarette company when it starts talking negative about its competitor. So it's kind of like that for me. It's kind of like, okay, if he hadn't have worked for the Ethereum Foundation, or like, being so heavily associated with Ethereum, then you could sort of like, take that grain of salt and put it in your salad or whatever. I just made that up, but do something like that. But at the same time, right now, it kind of does look bad because of what happened with the price action. So that's one of the catalysts. The other catalyst is sort of like the narrative of Bitcoin as well. It's kind of like it was supposed to be a means of transferring wealth, or like, you know, doing transactions, buying coffee with your Bitcoin. They're still trying to do that via Lightning Network. It's not going to happen. And then it switched to a store of value. So, you know, an inflation hedge. So the market dumps, Bitcoin goes down, the market goes up, Bitcoin goes down. The dollar is sort of just cruising along at 99 cents. Or the, what do they call it? The Dixie, sorry, is at 99 cents still. Hasn't budged, you know, it's maintaining strength and just going sideways and consolidating. And Bitcoin, yeah, you know, it's trying. Oh, it just looks horrible. But like, yeah, it could recover. It could go to 60. Some people say 40, some people say 20. So you're gonna see a lot of bears come out and just basically be like, yeah, this thing's going to 20 grand. And while you're waiting for 20 grand, like it drops to 35 or 40. And to be honest, it's currently like at a price now where you could start DCAing, but like, honestly, I've never been one to, like, you know, go out of my way to buy Bitcoin. I just don't see the point in holding something that has failed every sort of narrative that has been created for it. That's the sort of the perspective I have of Bitcoin, and I've always had sort of like a dim view of Bitcoin. I was just like, okay, you can send it somewhere, it's decentralized, that's very cool. But you know, it was the reason why I didn't pick up Bitcoin at 600, idiot, and I picked up ETH at $8, you know, $8, like, or $17, whatever it was. It was because ETH was more interesting, and it had a moat, and it followed through the moat. You know, it was supposed to be whatever it is now, and it is that, and there's no arguing with that. So like, where like Bitcoin had to prove itself on the world stage in terms of, like, you know, battling inflation, becoming a store of value or a means of transactions, it's failed on all three of those. Whereas Ethereum, if we try and justify it, because Ethereum's price action is just as bad, but if we try and justify it, it's a smart contract platform that is going to onboard the world of finance to DeFi, like, or to blockchain rails. If we're still saying the word blockchain, I'm sorry, okay, but it has to be said sometimes. I'm still old school enough to remember. I'm going to say Web3 in a minute, so that you can really cringe. But anyway, I digress. Yeah, it's fulfilled like most of its potential, and it's battle hardened as well. Many a competitor has come against ETH, and you know, you haven't seen a winner yet. Some people are like, you know, sort of saying Hyperliquid is the answer, you know, because it does have its own chain. I'm not too familiar with many of the protocols that are on that chain, but I'm aware that there are protocols on that chain. And I'm not quite sure, to be honest, if you have to pay Hype in order to do transactions on there. So, you know, I'm thinking ETH is still the gas token for the Hyperliquid chain. Yeah, because it probably borrows, or more than likely borrows, security from Ethereum mainnet. It doesn't pay for it. Yeah, so, you know, a lot of people are saying that Hyperliquid is going to be a thing, but I can't see it. At the end of the day, like, you know, when someone views, and this is not bearish Hyperliquid's got its product market fit. It's proven what it is supposed to do as well as an app. It's an app. It's an application. I don't think it should have ever, like, sort of branched out to a chain, but who knows what the future holds. Maybe it does, like, you know, really well on its, like, subculture of, like, you know, individual apps that do unique things. The likelihood of that, I don't know. But yeah, I'm kind of skeptical about that moat, or that, you know, that sort of narrative, because so many have come and so many have failed. So yeah, it's just one of those situations where, yeah, like Hyperliquid, if it just stuck to its perpdex lane, and marketed it well, it will do extremely well. And yeah, it can have its fun little, you know, fun fair at the back, with the dodgy rides if it wants, and if people want to mess with it, they can. I think, like, a lot of the volume that is going on the Hyperliquid chain is just in expectation of an airdrop, or a season 3 airdrop, and I don't think that's coming. I think it's too big to fail now. You've got articles from the Wall Street Journal talking about Hyperliquid and all sorts of things going on. But yeah, that's the reason I'm sort of flip-flopping. But that's the reason why I think, like, yeah, Bitcoin, it's got the potential to go down, or it could just be just like stupid fun. No one cares. There's too much money invested in Bitcoin for it to fail now, because of the amount of investment that's gone into you know, these ASIC miners and mining Bitcoin. And to be honest, right, if you think about it, and I've just thought about this now, do you think, like, you know, this is the question I've just asked myself, because no one talks to me on stream. It's fine. It's okay. Yeah, do you think that, you know, the hash rate that Bitcoin is taking up to secure itself could be like funneled away or like, you know, vampired by AI. You know, like the amount of energy that's going into securing Bitcoin is probably pretty high and very expensive, you know. And with the advent of AI, is it possible that, you know, these AI companies could perhaps, yeah, like I say, vamp Bitcoin's energy supply in order to facilitate more data centers? Does that make sense? Like, so if there's like a smaller, like say there's 3 massive miners, right? And, you know, it's getting more and more expensive to secure the network, but the Bitcoin price is going down. So like, you know, even when you get your block rewards, even when you get your block rewards, you're not getting back. You're not breaking even. You're actually receiving Bitcoin at a loss. You're securing the network at a loss. Is it possible that those people who are, you know, basically priced out of the market, switch to AI and just like turn it into a data center? I mean, it's more than likely that's what happens. If Bitcoin's price continues to go down, people will pivot to data centers. There might be a small niche crew who like still believe in the dream and the idea of Bitcoin, and they'll run their nodes and they'll run their miners, and, you know, it will keep humming along. But it will never be. There will never be as much investment in Bitcoin as there has been so far from institutions, because that's the level it's gotten to in order to secure the network. It's an interesting question to ask. You know, because it's so reliant on because it's from the industrial age of crypto, and it's so reliant on, you know, industrialized power, electricity. Yeah, it could be a problem. It could be another moat or another reason why you would not want to hold this asset. You know, Bitcoin I'm talking about. ETH is a different thing. Proof of stake, quantum resistant. I know I'm sounding like an ETH short. Okay, I've always been a fan of ETH. All right, people have talked down on it. They say it's moving too slow, but at the end of the day, it's built to last. It feels like, yeah, I mean, you get triples into ETH, like, you know, you should be on your hands and knees thanking the gods, because I feel like it's going to be the thing that that pushes on from here. Because like Solana was the last competitor to show up, and, you know, Solana's down in the doldrums without a narrative. It hasn't got a narrative. Like, what has it got other than faster transactions and decentralization? Okay, cool. But app wise, you know, like after the drift hack, you know, the DeFi is kind of dead. I just don't know. It's just one of those things where, yeah, I don't know where Solana goes from here, but on a, you know, 2 black belts in the ring, 1 Solana, 1 ETH, I think that ETH wins. Because it has the moat of, like, you know, TradFi. I feel like TradFi are dying to get into ETH. I feel like there's been enough time for them to be educated, understand what is capable of. But the only issue is like, if they decide to go the intranet route and, you know, build out their own chain that is secured by ETH, so they can just, like, you know, view the data themselves from their little business. I'm imagining like a, you know, like an industry coming on chain, like the casino industry. So like if the casino industry actually went on chain, it's more than likely that they wouldn't want to share too much information about customers or transactions. So the securest way to do that, the most secure way to do that, is to build your own chain. You know, it's a private chain. All the information is kept and siloed within, you know, the casino's nodes or whatever it is, or its chain. Cryptographically, you know, the ZK proof thing, maybe that keeps it secure. Yeah, but the problem with that is that, yeah, it will be secured by Ethereum, but they have to be willing to pay for security, which is the problem that ETH has had through the last cycle with, like, you know, the optimism and base and all the rest of it. It was always an issue. So, you know, like, that's the reason why I think, like, ETH is better than Solana right now, is because they have the narrative and they have, yeah, they have the test. They've had the battlegrounds as well in terms of L2, so they know exactly, well, hopefully, they know exactly how to deal with an institution that wants to come on chain and make sure that they get paid. Because I think it was a bit naive for them to just be like, open the doors and let anyone in. Or maybe they still viewed themselves as a startup, which is the argument that a lot of people have with the leadership, is just like they still got that startup mentality, when instead they should be, like, you know, going for the jugular right now in terms of market share when it comes to smart contracts. Yeah, they just need to yeah, learn from what they've done. Because it was all an experiment up until now. You know, now you've got, like, you know, the Black Rocks coming on chain and all sorts. So yeah, it needs to be sorted out. And I think they will sort it out. The Ethereum team, or, like, you know, the chain. It's hard to talk about it because, like, when I say sort it out, who are we talking about? Is it the Ethereum Foundation that's going to be doing all of this, or is it like it's like the blind leading the blind right now? There are a lot of smart people in crypto, suits. Okay, they know what needs to be done, but they haven't got someone to tell them how to, like, where to go, what to do. It seems, or like they're doing what they need to do, but they're all going in different directions to do it. When instead, like, there needs to be some sort of hub or like discussion board, like not a Slack, but like not a LinkedIn, but something where like people who have the finances to actually make a move and make things happen for ETH in terms of like investment in its actual token for gas fees. Obviously, it's got utility, or they can stake it and earn a yield. All these selling points are there, and plus it's not got the worry of like it getting, I don't know, drained by AI via hash rate, or what's the other one? Or the fact that it hasn't followed its narrative. That's Bitcoin I'm talking about. There's so many things wrong with the view of Bitcoin as the chain. At the moment, it's fine, but there are a lot of things, a lot of like headwinds before it actually becomes the thing. There is a running theory that because Micheal Saylor, who's another one, who sold 32 Bitcoins, and the world is when we sell BTC, the market won't care. Sells Bitcoin, small amount of Bitcoin, 10% down. So like as you can see from the actual feed, there's a lot of talk about the Micheal Saylor thing, and there's a guy called Mando, and he was just basically pointing out that Saylor kind of trapped himself in the sense of, let me see if I can bring it out. There it is. I'm just gonna open my window. I'm a bit hot. 1 second, guys. Find it now. There it is. So this is Mando. If you don't know who he is, he's part of like a Yeet. It's like he's a very successful investor basically that used to work for Barclays, I think. And he came into crypto during the NFT boom, done really well, of course. And he sort of built out his own companies. He's a big deal, isn't it? Like, he knows what's going on, and he understands finance. Okay, he does do his own show. I can't remember what it's called. They used to be on YouTube, but then they moved to X and sort of started building their brand there. So I can't remember the name of it, and I've sort of like fallen out of like the loop with these guys who talk about crypto, but he's basically saying that this Micheal Saylor, who's been buying I think his last buy was $2.5 billion worth of Bitcoin. He's saying that he's only got 900 million in cash only, and 1.7 billion annual dividends. So Time Bomb probably has 3 months left. It's curious, why can't he sell the BTC outside of it looking bad? Is he the only buyer? So he's the only one who's been buying Bitcoin during this last couple months, or half a year. I mean, he could try to sell 2 billion now to buy it more time, but at what cost and to what end? He needs billions every year. So he's promising his shareholders dividends. I think it's around 11% via his STRC product. I'm not sure exactly where it is, but at the moment he's been paying, or before he was paying the yield with MS or MicroStrategy shares. So he was basically selling the shares to justify the yield, and the shares were going up in price because Bitcoin was going up in price, and he was just buying more and compounding his profits. It didn't matter. He's a bit of a strange guy, Micheal Saylor, because he says things like people say, oh yeah, you sold the bottom, or like you bought the bottom, or you bought the top, sorry, and he didn't care. He was just like, it's all relative, I'm just going to buy when the funds are available. So he was just buying all the way up, and it was just random amounts. In the middle of like a sell-off, you just see a post on X, and they'll be like, Micheal Saylor's just bought $400 million worth of Bitcoin, and his stash is up to X amount. And at one point it worked, like the price was going up, he was buying, people were like, Micheal Saylor's got us, he's created a floor, he's spending all this money, he will never sell, because he says, never sell your Bitcoin, there's only one chair, he says all these crazy things, but then when push comes to shove, and his shareholders need to be satisfied with their dividends, he decides that I'm going to test the waters. And it was kind of like a weird tweet where he was just kind of like, yeah, I'm going to test the waters, guys. And sell a tiny bit of Bitcoin just to see like how the market reacts. And he sold some, and yeah, this is the reaction. You know, like it's this candle. Once again, yeah, and I'll go back to what I said at the start. It's like a justification for the price action. Not necessarily like any of these things are correlated to the reason as to why the price went down. The reason why the price went down is because people sold. Someone, a large holder, sold. 1 second, guys. Okay, just give me a sec. Sorry. Oh, gosh. Yeah, it's because, sorry for that. Yeah, it's because people sold. You know, it could be anyone. It could be an institution. It could be the ETFs. But, you know, we'll find out tomorrow when the numbers, you know, come through the wash, basically. But yeah, price is down. A lot of people believe 60K is the bottom. It's just rechecking to make sure. I don't know what that means. What is it, like first test, best test? I don't know. Yeah, that's an old, can't remember his name now. But yeah, he used to say it on his streams. But yeah. So it's looking a bit ropey for Bitcoin, and in turn, like, you know, people are celebrating that ETH is basically up on the ratio. I don't know if you guys know what the ratio is. If I can find it. Where's my list? Come on. Is that it? Stocks. I must have deleted it. Open list. There we go. You see old ratio. You see some old school stuff here. Yeah. So they're like, you know, celebrating the fact that, yeah, look, you know, the ratio's gone up, so that means that you can get more Bitcoin for your ETH, because ETH didn't dump as much as Bitcoin. That's what people are celebrating. It's just like, it didn't go down as much as Bitcoin, so we're winning. Look, the ratio's up, and it's just like, so this is ETH BTC anyway, if you don't know. Yeah, so it's just one of them ones where it's just like, okay, come on, guys, like, really, like, no one really cares, like, about this move. You want to see something like crazy, innit? I guess like on an hour it looks good, kind of, but once again, you know, it's sort of reversing. But we'll see how the narrative sticks. That's what I think it's all about now. It's just like, who's got the narrative? Yes, quantum computing is a threat to Bitcoin, unless the geniuses at Blockstream do something about it. It seems likely. And yeah, I guess that's all I want to talk about in terms of that. Athena, you'll see like Athena's up on the day. Athena, the legend, you know, the one with the greatest missions schedule, most greatest mission schedule you'll ever see, like, but it still runs somehow. Yeah, so Athena made a deal with Coinbase. They're going to be providing a yield of some sorts, which I'll bring up now. Just give me a sec. Coinbase. There we go. I should have just typed in Athena, really. Here we go. Yeah, we're partnering with Athena to support the security and operations across more than $5 billion in assets. Coinbase is now the primary custodian, wallet provider, perpetuals venue, USDC coming to base, and our wider ecosystem, which is good and bullish for Athena. And you can see that in the price. It pumped like 10%, but then obviously, because people have so much Athena tokens, they just sell into it. You know, it's like infinite profit for them. Every time there's an announcement, there seems to be like emissions or something with them, like, so it's just like, just stay away from it. And you know, I can speak from my own personal experiences. I actually put like, you know, 5 figures into Athena, thinking that I was going to get a great yield, and I'm trying to figure out now where I put it in, because it's quite interesting if you look back. I think it was like 50 cents. I think it was like 50 cents, and this was like, yeah, last year or 2 years ago. No, it was around here, July. Yeah, put it in here, you know, they run up, and yeah, I think it might be the year before. I can't remember. I've been in crypto so long, my brain is completely fried. But I think it was around here, and it just like, it ripped up, and you think, you know, it's never going to be over. I remember it going to $1.30, yeah, and I was like, great. And the yields were like around 6%, you know, for staking your Athena, and you were getting all these bonuses and stuff, and you know, everything was great. And then the sell-off started happening, and you're just like, get my fucking money out, get my money out. But it turns out when you lock your tokens, your Athena tokens, they're locked for, there's a 3-week delay in unlocking your position. So, you know, throughout this whole 1, 2, 3, you know, you're just about to get your tokens 3 weeks or a month in, and then boom, and then boom. It just kept on going, and it was just like, oh my god, it completely wrecked me. So, you know, the 13% yield was nice for a while, but then it didn't last very long. There is rumors of a fee share, but certain criteria a la Mega ETH, you know, that sort of deal where certain criteria need to be hit in order for a fee share to go on for Athena stakers. I don't know anyone who's still holding Athena and staking it. Maybe now is a good time at 9 cents, it looks like the bottom, to pick up a large lump and lock it in there if you don't need it. Not financial advice, but you know, it could create a good yield, and this is good news for Athena in terms of the you know, the base partnership, but also, you know, I mean, Athena, the protocol is good news. In terms of token holders, I don't know if it's great news. I really need to look at the emission schedule again to see how long it goes on for and how many more tokens the VCs have to dump on poor plebs' heads. Okay, so yeah, just be careful with this one. Although it is good news, it's good for the protocol, but bad for, you know, the token holder, or not great for the token holder. Yeah. So that happened. What else happened today? A load of things happened today. I've talked about that. Yeah, a load of projects are leaving Mega ETH. It's hard to, you know, it's hard to justify. I don't know. I'm not an insider. I'm not a dev working for them, but it seems like, you know, they've lost the trust of their, you know, benefactors. I noticed. I don't know why I said benefactors. Just ignore that. But I noticed that a lot of like the protocols that were launched, you know, like Hit, Showdown, and a few others. Every single one of them had like a point system. You know, like, so if you used it, you would get like a certain amount of Showdown points, or you get a certain amount of like hit points or whatever. I mean, what did those points represent? Because the terminal was the thing that justified the airdrop, but I don't understand how or why there was a point system for individual apps, unless they were going to launch a token, or that was part of the allocation that was supposed to go to people who use the chain. You know, like it was like a point system that would then be passed on to the gods upstairs, who would look at it, write it down, and just be like, okay, this looks like a good thing. Yeah, so we'll give you an allocation of our mega token to give to your users. You know, I thought that was the case, but it seems like the points were just worthless points, and you know, it's no disrespect to the devs or the teams that built these things. They were, you know, good apps. Like, I really enjoyed playing Showdown. It was so addictive, and you know, obviously hit was a hit for a while, but you know, you just realized you were burning through too much cash, trying to, like, you know, randomly catch a 600x on BTC going up in the sideways market. It's like the worst possible time to launch this sort of product, to be honest. If it was like, you know, in a trending market, downwards or upwards, people would be all over here, you know, and maybe that's where this success will come from. But yeah, like, it just seems like the point system was a waste of time, and maybe, just maybe, like, a lot of these devs who worked or built these applications were promised certain things in terms of mega, you know, token allocations at some point. So they built a score system, and now that's not come to fruition. A lot of the teams have decided to just, like, you know, jump ship and move to different networks. I mean, I'm hearing rumors of Showdown going to Monad. I know that there was like another product on Mega ETH that left, and I can't remember the name of it because it's me. Mega ETH. Let's see. You know, like, yeah, I wish you luck, like, sort of thing. Maybe I should check bread. Check bread. BREAD. I think I'm too down deep in the weeds, guys. Like, I know a little too much for, you know, not being profitable. It's crazy. CUSD. How this works. I mean, it's probably only positive vibes, isn't it? But, like, yeah, a couple of projects are basically Mega ETH Exodus. Can I just put, like, Mega? Just do it like that instead of clicking the actual profile. Still do wallet. Also, I don't want to drop names, but so yeah, there we go. Yeah, so it's Hello Trade. So, like, Hello Trade is moving to, we remain focused on that mission, blah blah blah. And there's no, like, what is this, guys? I'm extremely disappointed to see this because I've tried to support you guys with what I can. If I'm not mistaken, this is not about the tech. Is it about the grant? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So, like, you know, I think a lot of these teams are not getting the grants that they were promised to continue, like, you know, using the chain. So, you know, it's all a business at the end of the day. It's not like I mean, it's not like like Microsoft or Google when it first started anymore. Like where there's a couple guys in a basement somewhere, or like in a garage, and they build out the Apple computer for the first time or whatever. No, this is like, it's business. So like if someone brings a product to your chain and you like the product, they're gonna need grants to continue building it and to also offer incentives to their users, potentially, however unlikely that is. And it's just not happening in it. So yeah, that's you can see, like, yeah, I think that's what the main issue is with Mega ETH. It's not a communication issue, it's a funding issue. I guess they assumed that their token would do extremely well, and it's literally been down only below 5 cents now, I believe, coming close to 5 cents. Should I bring up the old Dex Trader and have a look? Dex Trader. Oh, see, why did I do it like that? I never search for anything on there. See, this is how you get scammed. So you got to do like Dex. I can spell, not 2 T's. I can spell. It's not Dex Screener. It's Dex Screener, you idiot. Sorry. I'll get there, guys. I'll get there. Apologies. There you go. There you are. Yeah. Yeah, I need to have a look at the price and just make sure it is where it's supposed to be, Yeah, is the hyperliquid pump over? I don't know. I don't know what to believe anymore. A lot of the time I started to show light. Like the lighter token I was talking about yesterday. If you didn't watch it, you didn't watch it. But like, it's another exchange that's decentralized on Ethereum mainnet. So I don't know why they need to. But people are like, yeah, lighter is way better than, because obviously they want to make more money off of the narrative that is the decentralized exchange. There you go. Yeah. And there's that address. It's back again. See, buy it up all day. I don't know who that is. Last hour, I should just be buying. It's like maybe the same 2 addresses. Maybe there's some idiot in between there that's bought, like, thinking, yes, this is the time. Look at all the buys that are coming in. But we'll see, innit? We'll see in a couple hours. But yeah, every 15 seconds, look, same addresses, picking it up. It's interesting. I should actually track it, track and see who owns it. Should we do that? It's probably too boring for you guys, isn't it? Which one do we see consistently? Let's see. Let's see if I can do a little investigation. Interactive with the smart contract. So where do we go to? This address? Mega USD. Oh. Okay. Let me go back. Let's see what it is. So yeah, it's just a random address that's holding almost 17 million mega. Let's create a contract address. I might just like going around in circles here. Yeah, who knows? Who knows? I'm embarrassing myself now. I'm no Zach XBT, but it's definitely the same address. It's just buying up all these mega tokens on the cheap. Expecting some sort of catalyst, or maybe they just have more time. Like, I think a lot of people underestimate the power of time. Yeah. So he's got he's got 17 million mega there, and probably split amongst all these addresses. There's probably around just under 100 million mega tokens being held. And I don't know what the intention is, or if it's actually the devs buying back their own token in order to provide, or to control the actual market of Mega. That was the game that the abstract guy, can't remember his name, was basically explaining. Buying back your own token, control the narrative, control the flow of the actual tokens. But the thing though, the reason why that won't work right now is because retail never had the opportunity to actually dump the tokens. So it's kind of like, who's dumping them? No one knows. Who's buying them? No one knows. So they're just like buying and selling to themselves. I'm not going to accuse them of doing anything illegal. Okay, no one watches my streams anyway, so it doesn't matter. But like, at the same time, you don't want to be the guy saying, oh yeah, potentially they're doing some sort of like MLs like out here. Do you know what I mean? But like, it possibly isn't that. It possibly isn't that. But yeah, Mega very interesting in terms of price action. Sorry about that. It's a bit of a delay. I don't know what people like to watch anymore. It's a bit of a weird one. First it was like short form, like I'm not going to be hiring clippers to do my stuff. But I remember back in my old day, you know, like YouTube content used to be fun. You used to just like sit, listen to someone, you know, if you wanted to partake in the conversation, you could. Doesn't seem to happen anymore. People aren't really that, you know, intrigued to chat or whatever, and that's okay. It's okay. It's just one of those things, isn't it? That I guess, yeah, I'll treat this as my journal again, as usual, for another however many years. Let's see, try to get this up. Oh, you didn't hear me say that. And now's research launches. Desktop. Blah, 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 blah. Let's see. There you go. That's loading that up. Look. Look if I've been waffling for now. Oh my god, an hour? You can't talk for an hour, bro. It's been about 40 minutes, to be fair. Look. Yeah, it's not. Good. I kind of enjoy the fact that, you know, like, no one watches my streams. I could just sort of like chill out. You got really got stress about it. But yeah, interesting things happening. Price action wise, I feel like, yeah, I don't know, man. I just feel like making hype's just gonna keep going. I would show you the scroll terminal, but now I've added in like sort of data retrieval for hype analytics or hype data off of both the Derive and Hyperliquid exchange. It kind of slows down my computer, so I just like stopped running it. But it's starting to give me really good signals. Apparently, like, you know, a lot of people were expecting a massive downside move and started hedging by buying puts. Yeah, so if it doesn't happen and, you know, the price reverses, like, there could be another like little move up here. Most people are hedging, like, I guess, and buying downside risk in terms of puts, but at the same time, you know, the way this token's moved so far, I just feel like, yeah, a couple of days of consolidation and it's off to the races, sort of deal. So yeah, definitely one to keep an eye on, in my opinion. Yeah, there's like lighter as well, but like I just feel like the lighter narrative is kind of forced. Yeah, it's gonna go up, but I don't know, man. I just don't think it's time for that yet. I feel like a lot of these VC guys, or like guys who are in the know, guys who got money or whatever, you know, they like to get as much yield or make as much money as possible in the shortest space of time. So the main, I don't know, perspective from potential buyers, retail, people on crypto Twitter, that's all I've got reference to at the end of the day. Is that, yeah, the top is in, and, you know, Hyperliquid's just going to go sideways from here. But I just feel like the narrative is too strong to stop here. I mean, right now it's sitting on like sort of a consolidation support deal. Like, everyone was looking at $70 to break out, and it did break out. Now it's reversed and sort of touched $70 again. I feel like, yeah, it's just going to stay there, or like, you know, start floating up gently. You can look at all the metrics you want, but at the end of the day, yeah, it just looks like, yeah, it's ready to go. I mean, another couple hours, I feel like it will close about 71, and then it'll be continuation. Now, bear in mind, yesterday when I pointed out hype and I was talking about it, I was saying, yeah, it's going to go to X amount, and I said I'm cursed, okay, and I'm always wrong, and I always mark tops, okay. So just be warned by what I'm saying in terms of price action. I am not a financial advisor. I'm not telling you to do anything with your money. I'm just giving my opinion and my perspective on what I see or perceive, and most of the time what I see and perceive is wrong. So like, you guys just need to know that, okay. I'm not the guy to like come to for the TA. Yeah, I don't know how else to explain it. Okay, I think that's it. I think I'm done. I think I've talked myself to death. Yeah. See, like, it seems like everyone's rotating out of hype to chase larger returns in light. Lighter is absolutely killing it. See, so like, yeah, the names are starting to come out, and they're like, oh yeah, people are selling the hype. It's down 6% on the day, but mate. Anyway, we'll see. We've got time. I hope. Okay. I hope everyone's doing well. Yeah, and yeah, I hope you enjoyed the stream. Like and subscribe, as I would always say. I've lost 3 subscribers. I'm not hurt by it. I just, like, you know, I feel better of you people. Yeah, so I guess I'll speak to you soon, and take it easy.